All right, everybody. It's the Working Fans Podcast. And like I said, we're going to talk top 5 future AEW main eventers this week. I see producer Joe is in the comments. We'll get to his list then in a bit. Also, a little programming note. When this episode airs on audio, it will include the SummerSlam 2022 review that we did right after the event and Ric Flair's last match card. We'll have a review of that as well. So
when's Ric Flair's last match going to be?
Supposedly it happened already. Let's hope it did. Oh man, we can talk a little bit about that first before we get into this list here. Talking about future main eventers, Ric Flair. Did you get to watch this? I don't even know if we really talked.
I did. One of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. I thought I was watching a man pass out and die in the ring. So, yeah.
He feigned a heart attack at one point and threw an eye poke.
We've seen him feign a heart attack before. This one was a lot more realistic.
Yeah, he didn't feign the last one into an eye poke, though. That one was more of an angle. This was more like, this was a transitional spot.
I don't ever want to see it again, including the one I just watched.
All right. Well, why don't we'll kick it off here. I'll read producer Joe's list here. This is our top 5, who we think might be the top 5 future AEW main event talents. AJ, you keep a little list here.
We didn't even put Hook down as one of the ones to watch. All right. Sorry, I just added Hook to that list.
Yeah. Producer Joe wanted to add on that too. That card was amazing. The main event was rough. It was a good card.
Oh, no, the card was absolutely amazing. I love the card. I mean, we knew that there wasn't going to be any spectacular title changes, anything like that. No titles that were on the line. We're going to change hands due to the fact that it was not card put on by a promotion. It was put on by, an individual. And so it took a little bit of the suspense away from me, but it was a fun card.
It was Jim Crockett Promotions. I don't know what you're implying. It was Conrad or something. Wink, wink. All right, we'll stop. I'm going to put the brakes on this one more time because I do want to say one good thing about that event was I thought they did a really good job of making it feel important with all the cameos by Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler, Undertaker, people in the crowd. Jerry Lawler making that appearance I thought was really cool.
I thought it was nice to see his daughter Ashley. We haven't seen her in years. I've seen his daughter Charlotte a lot on WWE TV, but it was great to see Ashley.
Ashley, yeah. Saw Megan get involved.
Yeah, Megan. She was not roasted, by the way, on the roast, if you saw the roast. Megan was the one female member of his family who was not mentioned.
Interesting. I think you're implying something there.
Probably because of her connection to Jim Crockett Promotions.
Right. Her strong connections to David Crockett. All right, let's get on with this list here. First list, producer Joe. He's got MJF, Hook, Darby Allen, Daniel Garcia, and Anna Jay.
So, my first thought, and this is just me, is we're going to see Darby Allen on a lot of these lists. Mm-hmm. Darby Allen, if you had asked me a year ago if I thought he was going to be one of those main eventers, one of those special talents in AEW, I would have said absolutely. I have not enjoyed the use of Darby Allen over the last 6 months. I think he's been lost in the shuffle with Sting. I think he's been lost in the shuffle with his matches, and I think he's actually taken steps backwards, to be honest with you, from what they've done in AEW.
So let's do a sidebar here real quick about Darby, because I was listening to a podcast with Jericho and Meltzer, and they were chronicling Vince McMahon and WWE. And one of the things they talked about was talents that Triple H looked for. And Meltzer actually used Darby as an example, saying that a couple months ago, I would have told him never go to WWE. He won't be happy there. He won't be used right. He's like, now I'm not so sure. I don't know what, Triple H might be looking for.
Yeah. Triple H is a different cat than obviously Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon never liked size, didn't like people without size, doesn't like people who didn't fit into a certain mold. Darby Allin has a much better chance now. And quite frankly, some of the people who left WWE, like your Adam Coles and people of that nature, actually now it could be regretful that they've left because they would fit better into a Triple H world.
Absolutely. All right. Who do you got for a list?
Oh, so my first list here is actually, I've got 3 people that were all sent to me. I'm not going to read them all at once, don't worry.
Yep.
But I've got 3 people that were all sent to me by our favorite and our good friend, Randy Osga. Randy actually, his list first is MJF if he doesn't leave AEW, which there's no guarantee now because I got to believe that's somebody who Triple H would love to get a hold of.
Yep.
Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who I agree with. Daniel Garcia, who I agree with, Ricky Starks, who I absolutely love, and now this person I think might fit in better in the WWE than I do in AEW, but hopefully he'll get a push. Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is fantastic, and I just don't think he's given the mic enough like he was this week.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Ethan Page. I like the little angle they did with Stokey Hathaway.
Well, it's interesting with Stokey Hathaway, but what's going on with his what is it? What's his name? Dan
Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky.
Exactly. So I'm interested to see where that's going too.
Well, I don't know. I'm wondering if Dan Lambert might be leaving. It's the contract MMA right now. Maybe with Scorpio Sky injured, we just figured, okay, let's find something for Ethan, and this might be a better fit. This might be one of those things where a negative turns out to be a positive for him.
I mean, I like the group that they're putting together. If his 2 main stars are going to be Jade Cargill and Ethan Page going forward, and then the baddies, that's not a bad little section.
He also has Lee there too, Lee Moriarty.
Yeah, Lee Moriarty's fantastic too.
Yeah, American Top Team. Yeah. Oh, so I don't know if you were struggling. Oh, yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was struggling with it. That's I don't know why I couldn't think of American Top Team.
All right. Well, and the tag team was Men of the Year, but Chris Zauha, he comes up from the Mothership Facebook group. The Mothership coming up big as always. They got Darby, Wardlow, MJF, and I think those will all be names you have to mention. But the 4th one he has, he didn't get a 5th. 4th one is Brian. And I don't know if it means Brian Danielson, but I'm not going to put Brian Danielson.
Not in a future one. No. That's the Brian Danielson's future is short term, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, too.
I do have Anthony Laterra, who is brought to us by Randy Osga.
Yep.
He has Sammy Guevara, Darby Allen again. Like I said, it's not that I don't think Darby Allen has the talent to be a future main eventer. I just don't like what they've done with him lately going towards the main event. MJF, who we haven't seen in a while, and then Daniel Garcia again.
Awesome.
Oh, by the way, Tony Storm is his number 5.
That's awesome. Hey, AJ, I know you're keeping a tally of this list too. Don't update us this week because it's a short list anyway. So I'll go in cold with a surprise. And let's go cold. All right. We got Tia J. Zenos. I hope I'm saying that right, from the Mothership Facebook group. Got MJF, if you don't consider him already, and he's not gone. Wardlow, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allen, and Hobbs.
I might have to put Sammy Guevara on here since we keep hearing his name, and he's not one of the people I was keeping track of.
We'll keep an eye on Sammy right now. Daniel Titus also added, we all know Chris Zalcha is the future of pro wrestling.
Oh, 100%. So we didn't even bother to put him on because of how much of a sure thing he is.
Yeah. I'll read another one for you real quick, too.
Sure.
I got Sonny Martinez.
He's not on my list.
He's got that aren't right now Wardlow, Stark, Hobbs, Dante Martin, and Austin Gunn.
Wow. Austin Gunn's an interesting one. I don't like Austin Gunn's mic skills to get to. I mean, it's not something. No, I'm not saying he couldn't develop them, but I just don't like his mic skills to get to a main event. He's more of that silly kind of just jackass, more of a player. I don't see it with him, but that just might be me.
That's all right. Why don't you give me another list here? I think you got Randy Osgood's 3rd friend here.
I've got Philip Griffith,
Yep.
and he's got Jungle Boy,
Yep.
who so far has not been on enough lists. Wheeler Yuta, who I believe this is the finally getting in there. Ricky Starks again. You talk about somebody with mic skills. It's hard to beat Ricky Starks with passion and mic skills. And then Darby Allen again.
Darby Allen, that's great. I got one for you. You're gonna love Harry Priest of the Mothership.
That does not sound like a real name, Harry Priest.
Priest, P-R-E-E-C-E. He's got Sting, Billy Gunn, Dustin Rhodes, Christian Cage, hologram Ric Flair. Or he gave us an alternate list. Keep tabs on this one. Hobbs, Hook, Wardlow, FTR, either together or not. Interesting pick with FTR. That is an interesting argument. You could definitely argue that because they've kind of basically.
I think they're already main eventers.
Yeah, they're one of the hottest acts right now in the company.
Yeah. Not a bad list. I mean, I'm not going to knock anything. The first list was kind of funny because I could see something like that happening.
I like
I have, let's see, looks like Zach St. John, Mrs. St. John's favorite baby boy. And he's got Ricky Starks. Mark one down for the Starksinator. That's we got Jungle Boy. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Jungle Boy so far, to be honest with you. Yeah. And you'll see what I mean when we go over the count. But he's, to me, he's more of a sure thing. Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yep.
Wardlow again. And then here's an interesting one for you. Malachi Black.
Interesting. Guy that's been around the business for a while, but certainly could be.
And someone to me that was used appropriately immediately.
Yeah.
But since then has kind of fallen off with his usage.
Absolutely. And Jungle Boy too, to your point too. I think if anything, the mic skills he's done the last couple weeks when he cut that promo, I thought that was like his first promo he really cut. That was like, oh, okay, this guy can bring the heat.
Yeah, he actually showed that he can talk. A lot of his stuff before that was bubblegum promos. Yeah. And because we're trying to keep him as that teen idol. I thought they let him loose this week, and I thought it was good.
I'm going to give you a couple lists here that I don't think really count. Sean McKinley of the Mothership Facebook group, Omega's blow up doll, Sunny Kiss, Maki Ito. So we won't look at those. G. Michael Curto from the Mothership Facebook group has Ric Flair, David Arquette, the Invisible Man, Turd Ferguson, and I know you might want to count these guys, the Howard brothers, Clint and Ron.
First of all, Clint and Ron are main eventers from way back, all the way back to their time when Clint Howard was actually a main eventer on My Mother the Car starring Jerry Van Dam. And then you have, of course, Ron Howard, who started off as Opie and then worked his way through. Richie Cunningham is now one of the top directors in the world. So know your main eventers, bitches. Yeah, that's right. I knew what Clint Howard starred on as a child. What?
Do you have any more lists but your own?
Just my own.
Okay, let me give Mike Flynn's list, and then you can give yours, and I'll give mine. All right, absolutely. Mike Flynn has, actually, I was kind of wondering if it was just me. Joe pointed out Jerry Van Dyke, or do you?
It is actually Jerry Van Dyke is actually the little brother of Dick Van Dyke. He ended up being on Coach later in life as the sidekick.
I know. I think the issue was you called him Jerry Van Dam.
Oh shit, my bad, Jerry Van Dyke.
Okay.
Well, we're talking wrestling, so Van Dam just came out.
Jerry Van Dam, the whole effing show, brother.
Oh, my fault. Jerry Van Dyke, yes, sorry. But he was the star of My Mother the Car in the 1960s at the same time as his brother was having the Dick Van Dyke show.
Oh, my goodness. I love it. Okay, I got Mike Flynn, MJF, for the sake of argument, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Wardlow, and this is a nice one, Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne is technically signed to an AEW contract. He's only 17 years old. They just haven't used him yet. That's interesting.
That is one hell of a premonition for somebody they haven't used yet. It's a little hard to say this guy is going to be a future main eventer when we haven't seen him yet.
It's true. It's true. But I like that they included him. All right. And then why don't you give me your list here?
All right. So my list is going to have a lot of the names that we do. I think Wardlow definitely has the stuff to be a future main eventer. Yep. Ricky Starks definitely has what it takes to be a future main eventer. I am actually going to go with Hook. I think they're building something with Hook. I think he's someone that has that it factor. I am not going to go with MJF. The reason why I'm not going to go with MJF is because to me, he's already a main eventer. He's already somebody in AEW who you could put in a main event at any time. And I'm not sure he's sticking around there. But I am going to go with Powerhouse Hobbs. And then I am going to go with Jungle Boy.
All right. Very good list. I got myself. I got Wardlow. I got Hobbs. I got Starks. I got Daniel Garcia because I don't know what anyone really, despite what anyone says, I think this guy has now shown he can hang on the mic and do it all. And last one, just to be a little different, we'll get back to Starks. I can see you shaking your head with that one, like not in a bad way either. But I'm going to put in, just for a wild card, because I hope she does well, Jamie Hayter.
Okay. I am glad you said Jamie Hayter. I think Jamie Hayter is one of the most underrated women in wrestling, period. Mm-hmm. What she does personality-wise and with her work in the ring is just as good as anybody in AEW. And it actually annoys me a little bit that she plays second fiddle to DMD there, Britt Baker.
I hope they're doing a battle of the belts, and I hope it's like there's some. If you want to change a title, I think it'd be a shocking have Jamie Hayter upset Thunder Rosa. That would be fun. I don't know if they'll do it. I wouldn't favor that the way that she's been booked, but Jamie Hayter has really impressed me in some of the most recent matches.
Not only that, but she's someone who actually matches up well with Jade Cargill. She's somebody who physically can go in there with Jade Cargill and actually matches up with her. So, yeah, I definitely like Hayter.
And Daniel Garcia, too. Maybe we'll talk a little more about Garcia, too. I don't know how many votes he got, but the last couple months, this guy, he's always delivered in the ring. But I have to say, as much as he fit in with the Blackpool Combat Club, the fact that he ended up doing this Jericho Appreciation Society has been awesome for him, because now he's got like the silly little hats and stuff, and he's getting to cut these promos.
I love his line where he says, "Yeah, that's right, the best technical sports entertainer."
Right. And we all know that a sports entertainer always beats a pro wrestler.
Yeah. No, we both love him. And I wanted to put him on my list. I did. I just think that even though he is where he's at right now and got that win over Bryan Danielson, I think that he's like a year away from being at that next level.
All right. Well, why don't we see what the fans thought? What were some of these votes?
All right. So number 1 was actually Wardlow with 8. Okay. Number 2 was Ricky Starks with 7. Number 3 was actually Powerhouse Hobbs. So that tag team, they actually got second and third because Hobbs got 6. Jungle Boy then 5.
Yeah.
With MJF tied at 5. 4 for Darby, 4 for Daniel Garcia, 3 for Hook, and 2 for Sammy Guevara. Because once I put him on the list, he got no more votes.
So, actually, I think it's kind of good that MJF and Darby are maybe towards the bottom a little bit, because I think those guys, you can only argue, are main eventers. Although Darby, to your point, maybe not the best booking the last few months, but he's definitely had his run.
Well, I love the MJF booking. They're really doing a lot with him.
I like it right now. Yeah, he's on fire.
I mean, my God, the mic work he's been able to do for the last several months has been fantastic.
We're going to talk about a little WWE creative after we're done with this. But let's get to this. I liked Hobbs and Starks in here because, to me, they really haven't had taste much of main event yet. And I think when we're talking future main eventers, we got to include them. Wardlow kind of danced with that main event storyline a little bit with MJF, but
if we did this a month ago, do you think Hobbs would have gotten as many votes as he did doing it this week?
No. The timing was crucial. Same for Starks. Starks getting that little video package before and cutting that promo before he got turned on.
And don't get me wrong, I think Stark still had an certain crowd of us who actually believe he's going in that direction. But I think Hobbs really has showed that intensity and that next level ability over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting. And they're booking Hobbs as a slightly more dominant right now, too. Like Starks can't get past that power. But that, as we know, too, might be a sign that Starks will probably pull it off when they finally meet. We'll see.
The good thing is that the 5 ones, if you want to look at it, that were in the top, Wardlow, Hobbs, Starks, Garcia, and Jungle Boy have been booked really well over the last month.
I also want to say producer Joe came back and he did agree with me. Hayter is the better choice than Anna Jay. So he actually liked our Jamie Hayter pick. Now, I'm going to say out of the 3, Wardlow, Hobbs, and Starks, I think Wardlow's going to be number 1 here.
I hate to say it because out of the 3, my favorite is Starks.
Yeah.
Hobbs is actually my second favorite.
Same. Yeah.
And Wardlow's actually my third.
I know, but the way the book it is, it's like you really see Wardlow's that guy that they're going to go. I'm going to go with Starks 2, and I'll go with Hobbs 3. I think we're in agreement. But, yeah, and I think we're both kind of like, I wish it was freaking the other way around.
I think both of us, we saw Starks with NWA, and we saw what was a bunch of promise with NWA, and to see what he's matured into over the last couple years is absolutely phenomenal. And if he continues that growth, he literally could be the next, and this is going to be one hell of a shot. He could be this generation's Shawn Michaels with his work rate.
I mean, yeah. I mean, who's to say? That's a hell of a, who knows who's the next Shawn Michaels, but he does have the promo skills. He does have the look, even despite the size. There's something about him that turns heads. And
you forget, first of all, he's taller than people think he is. When you see him in there with other wrestlers that have good height, he's not actually that short. He's a little bit on the leaner physique, but it's because of his intensity, it makes up for it.
I would concur. Now, let's talk a little WWE creative. The recent direction. Let's just kind of go briefly. Actually, kind of combine both of these news subjects. Hunter, first off, what did we see? I feel like we both liked what we saw this week.
We did. Starting with SummerSlam.
Right.
SummerSlam was one of those things that looked like it was just going to be the drizzling shits ahead of time. I mean, obviously everybody wanted to see what Brock and Roman would do together, but the rest of the card, I don't think anybody was exactly popping off the page for it. Going, woo, I can't wait for this.
I don't even think people were excited about Brock and Roman because it had been done so many times. And I think the big thing everybody was talking about was almost in that first match with Belair and Becky. And it was really that group coming out of it, Bayley, Dakota, and Io. I think also it's been talked about now that was one of the groups that was actually pitched to Vince, and Vince apparently had no interest in it. And Triple H was like, hey, I got interest in it. And clearly he wanted Dakota back.
Well, the thing is, Dakota was one of those people that under Triple H was really blossoming, and then all of a sudden Triple H is gone, and Dakota Kai is not used correctly again. She plays that character so well. Same thing with Io Shirai. I don't like her new name, Io Sky. I think that's just stupid. Yeah. But I love the character that she plays. She plays that I don't give a shit, I'll fight anyone character, and she's still playing it. That's what she did this week with Bianca Belair.
One of the better name changes in WWE, though. Who knows what this would have been if Vince was still around.
Yeah, she would have been Io, not in the WWE.
You're right. Yeah, I heard I wish I remember the podcast and the quote, but it was basically saying that although Triple H, he is interested in different talent, and he did really well with NXT for a little while. Somebody made the criticism basically that those people at NXT were never able to get over on the main roster. To which I want to reply, and I think you'll have some more to say about this too. maybe that's because Triple H wasn't the guy to make that decision on the main roster. And maybe those people that Triple H had pushed on NXT never really got a fair push on the main roster.
First of all, anybody who made it up to the main roster from NXT that Triple H got over was immediately changed when they got to the main roster. Literally everything that we liked about them became something different. Hell, it was happening to Ciampa until this week. Ciampa with a great win this week and was allowed to actually wrestle like Tommaso Ciampa up until Vince left. Huh?
He was allowed to wrestle.
Yeah. Up until this week, it was all just Ciampa sneak attacking people and being basically a spineless coward after he was the guy with the guts and the guy who stood up to everybody in freaking NXT. You literally completely change his character.
Yeah, even though like he didn't get a win this week, just Mustafa Ali being in that triple threat match, getting some big spots and getting able to perform, it felt fresh. It felt different. AJ Styles, everybody felt, I don't know, it felt a little different this week. And I heard quite a few people said, even though Raw is long with 3 hours, this was like one of the first weeks they were able to watch on through. And they didn't even have to fast forward too much.
Look at how much they got over the Street Profits this week by having that singles match with Seth Rollins. Now, instead of looking at them as just the comedy team, you're starting to look at them as legitimate wrestlers and not just the guy who we thought was going to get over, but Dawkins is getting over also. It's becoming legit.
Yeah.
The announce teams are better. The announce teams are actually not having Vince screaming in their ear every 2 minutes.
Michael Cole at SummerSlam, one of my favorite lines was Corey Graves had made a comment to him. I liked you better when you weren't allowed to have an opinion. And Michael Cole said, yeah, well, a lot's changed in the last few weeks. Or a lot's changed recently. And I thought, this dude, he has to be so happy right now.
For almost 30 years, Michael Cole has had Vince McMahon screaming in his ear. For 1 week, he has not had him screaming in his ear. And guess what? Michael Cole became entertaining.
Sounds better. He sounds like a wrestling broadcaster, like talking about fans, everything like that. He sounds good.
They also focused on the wrestling this week. They talked about the moves. They talked about the actual backgrounds of some of them. They brought up things that in the past they would not be allowed to do. And how much better was it? It was incredible.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith sounded like even he was getting a little more used to this. I wonder what it must be like for him. You know?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Jimmy Smith is being able to actually bring to the broadcast what we thought he would, his legitimate background of actually calling moves and calling matches. And now he's being allowed to actually do that because once again, we don't have Vince in his ear.
Right. That's interesting. Now, just to combine the two segments of the day, we'll finish with this. So 5-3-1. All right. We talked about top AEW potential main eventers. It's a new landscape. I would have said Triple H, Vince McMahon. He might have been interested in Hobbs and Wardlow.
I do want to mention one more thing real quick. I'm sorry. Johnny Gargano said that he's actually going to be announcing where he's going to be going soon. Do you think that that's coincidental with Triple H being put back in place?
I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting. Gargano could have already signed somewhere too. We won't know. And it's possible he could have been on Impact or something like that. But if I'm Johnny, I'm hoping he didn't sign somewhere soon. I'm hoping he's off.
You talk about somebody who absolutely loved Johnny Gargano and used him correctly. It's hard to beat his run with Triple H at the helm of NXT.
I remember Hunter saying that Johnny Gargano was one of the last top white meat baby faces.
So Joe just clocked in. He did a panel where he said he's staying at home for now.
Right. Which is fine. That was at StarCast, so that's fine. But I do have a feeling that if he is going somewhere, now is a much better looking landscape
for him. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, he also might just be happy being a dad right now after many years in wrestling. But man, tell me this Clash of the Castle, you're looking for opponents for Usos. I know Ciampa's a heel, but somehow we get Ciampa and Gargano.
Yeah, that's. I'd love to see Ciampa and Gargano back. That'd be fantastic. I'm wondering if we see Candice LeRae before we see Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I think she's still technically under contract. She just went on leave to actually have the baby.
What's interesting too is they got this Clash of the Castle coming up, and what's his name? Dragunov there. He just had to relinquish the NXT UK Championship. And I kind of wondered, I don't know, I didn't look at any spoilers. I know they're doing a tournament right now, but if we'll end up seeing the NXT UK champion finals, or maybe whoever the champion is makes an appearance at this event.
Yeah, I'm sad to see Dragunov have to relinquish the belt, though. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's one of the best for sure. But I hope. Do you think there's a possibility we get an NXT UK presence on this card?
Why not? Why would you not? This is
Right.
a chance to actually introduce them to a global audience. Why not put them over?
Yeah, absolutely. That freaking weekend, live Dynamite Wednesday, live Rampage Friday. Then we have the Clash of the Castle at 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then there's an NXT show the following day. I think it's going to be the afternoon. And then we have AEW All Out Sunday night.
It's gonna be a lot of wrestling to watch.
I got Labor Day weekend. That's my last big bread day. I'm pissed.
Dude, I want to pitch something to you real quick, and this is just an idea. So we're doing Drew coming home. Drew's coming home. He's going up against Roman Reigns. What we know is that the Usos get involved every time Roman's in trouble. Sure. They just saved him with Brock. They get involved in it. What if we did a lumberjack match and we surrounded the ring with the UK NXT tag as lumberjacks?
Oh, okay. Interesting. Get some of these guys on TV. I still want the match. I still want
matches. Don't get me wrong. You could have
right.
You can have the match with them, but then actually, now here's the problem, and Randy's going to put it up there. Does Drew win?
I was going to ask you that too.
Here's how you make one of them a star. They're all surrounding the ring. Your biggest villain from NXT UK costs Drew. Your biggest villain costs Drew, sets up a match you can do at the next NXT UK or any NXT pay-per-view, Drew versus your biggest heel.
How about this, though? How about the Usos are about to help Roman? Tyler Bate, let's say, or something like that, makes the save, stops the interference, and then Drew gets the win. You can do it that way, too.
I mean, you absolutely can. I just don't see Drew winning. I don't see him being the one ending the
one to get at with you, okay? Because I think Drew is going to pull this off. But
wow, you think Drew's winning?
I do, but that's the thing, right? That's where this is what's great about this, because they're doing this over in Europe. They've made such a big deal about Drew. There's a great story for him winning this, but because even though some people are pissed off about it, but WWE has done such a good job of making Roman as the guy. You really have doubt, and your opinion here is just as valid. It would be anyway, but I mean, this is I could see either one happening.
Well, here's the major thing also. I don't believe anybody has ever won the World Championship or the Universal Championship overseas. I know they've won in Canada. I don't include Canada, but I don't think outside of North America anybody has ever won the WWE World Championship. I could be wrong.
It did not happen on that SummerSlam many years ago. That was the Intercontinental title. Flair, actually, who was champ at the time. I'm sorry. Randy Savage, I believe, was champ at the time, and he was defending against Warrior. Flair interfered and got both men thrown out, or if there was a count out on somebody. But yeah. So, Randy, to answer your question, me and AJ are going to disagree on this one. I think Drew is going to get it done. But I will absolutely not be surprised. And that's the weird thing, right? Isn't it Drew's kind of the underdog here, though, right?
Well, he's got to be the underdog. You're talking about a 700-day reign. By the time he gets to it, it's going to be 700, almost 50 days or something like that, or even longer.
Does Austin Theory have a successful cash-in?
Eventually? The only way he does it eventually is if Drew actually wins the title in Europe and then gets attacked, and actually if he does it there. So Austin Theory, how interesting would that be? Austin Theory leaves freaking Scotland with the Universal title.
That would be crazy. I think you got to send these people home happy, but we'll see. Does Braun Breaker lose to JD McDonough?
In my dream world, absolutely.
I like if we could get the Irish Ace back though a little bit here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I enjoy this character where he's talking about hurting people and talking about, oh, I see that joint right there, and this is what I can do. That's kind of cool.
Mhm.
But I like the Irish Ace better also.
I like Jordan Devlin.
Yeah.
You know, will Triple H bring one of these guys up soon? Maybe a Braun Breaker comes up quicker than we think too.
He could. I'm not sure if he's ready.
Yeah.
I see some stumbling blocks, especially on his mic work still, where you can see him hesitating before he speaks. He's literally, it looks like he's taking about 3. He looks like Scott doing math.
Scott Steiner.
Yes. No, Scott from Voluntown. He looks like Scott from Voluntown doing math. No, he looks like Scott Steiner doing math.
Oh, man. All right. So let's wrap this up then. Out of all the potential main eventers we had on our list today, you're Triple H. Who's the one guy you think he might want?
To me, it's either MJF or Starks.
Okay. All right, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Anybody's gonna want Wardlow. The guy looks like a fucking $1 million.
Yeah, or Hobbs.
Or Hobbs, same thing.
Yeah.
But to me, the two guys that I would want if I'm Triple H and I want one guy, it's actually Ricky Starks.
Interesting. I'll throw one other name out there too, Jungle Boy, because he could be that white meat baby face. And given, Luke Perry was his dad and that whole history and everything like that, I could see him being a big one over there as well.
Yeah, and you can always do what Christian did. Christian did do the low-hanging fruit there. And I know some people disliked it because they thought it was horrible for him saying about his dad and stuff and his family. But, I thought it was good heat.
And to answer this question, Randy asked before we got out here, do more people from AEW go to WWE now? Yes. Not necessarily that, there's contracts and stuff. But let's put it this way. It's more enticing now than it was before. If you were the kind of wrestler who wasn't worried about this money and you were worried about your creative and your booking, you might have been like, no way. Now, a lot more people might go, oh, okay, the crazy old man is gone. Maybe
look, there's already talk of Naomi and Sasha being back.
Which to me, that's a layup, right? I mean, I think you have to do that. If you can get that done, like you got a 3-lady faction over here jumping on Bianca. Why not bring back the tag champs? And
especially with Becky being hurt. How easy would this be? You want a huge pop next week on Raw? You want people to go absolutely ape shit? Have the 3 of them jumping on Bianca Belair and have Sasha Banks music hits, and out comes Naomi and Sasha.
How about this? How about you hold off and then you do a 6-woman match on the pay-per-view, and then Baylor says, I'm going to have a surprise team. I'll have some people with me. And then you have Sasha and Naomi.
But the problem is, once you say I'm going to have surprise people with me, the crowd's automatically going to know who it is.
But is that a bad thing? Let's remember CM Punk when they had hinted that. We had to open with that. But, I don't know. I think
do you think that Sasha, and I love Sasha, I think Sasha is absolutely amazing, a main eventer on any level.
Yeah.
Do you think her and Naomi in a 6-woman tag match is the same as CM Punk?
No. No, I don't. Especially CM Punk in Chicago.
So you're trying to build buzz about how different the promotion is now and how much it's changed and how great the future is. What would do it more than just having that real instantaneous oh shit moment of their back?
I understand that. I'm just saying too, like if you want to come out of a pay-per-view with positive feedback too, those 2 being back, Drew winning the world title, some NXT UK talent getting over. Now that being said, I worry about how long you could hold off with them anyway. And here's why. Not because I don't trust Hunter and the people around him, but Vince has kind of, before he left, he did a real good job of getting rid of a lot of the talent. So it's like, I'm trying to look like who's available right now to work to keep those fresh.
I know Adam Shear, Braun Strowman, has said never say never when asked about going back to the WWE. And then the other interesting one that you could see in the future is what about Bray Wyatt?
Yeah. I think he's definitely a possibility. Randy Osgood, one more question here. Does CM Punk come back at AEW All Out? I'm kind of hit or miss on this. I would say creatively that might have been the plan, but when he was talking on that Comic-Con, like it sounds like he shattered his foot, and that could keep you out for a little while longer. So, AJ, I think you accidentally cut off your mic here.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I cut off my mic on purpose because I was answering my phone. Vince McMahon was calling me to complain about all these people giving him a hard time, and I didn't want that to be played on the broadcast. I didn't think it was fair. Yeah, I think that at Comic-Con he made it sound like he won't be back anytime soon. He's in a walking boot. His foot's absolutely shattered. So he's not like yours truly, who's doing this after having a camera shoved down his nose this morning into his throat and finding out that he tore a muscle in his abdomen. And here I am live and in Technicolor. So CM Punk, maybe it's time you nut up, buddy.
There you go. Call out the Punk. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for this week. Again, when this releases on the audio, we'll have the SummerSlam review. We'll have Ric Flair's last match review. Thanks for tuning in as always, and we'll see you ringside.